Hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing well today. Yes, I've been to move some stuff around. I haven't been in front of my computer for almost a week. It's I probably look like a mess, and I know that's the thing I am. Uh, uh, I'm probably not gonna be on super long today. I'm gonna wait a little bit, give everybody enough time to get in, so everyone can get a full update of everything that has happened, everything that has gone on. How's everybody been? How have y'all been since I've been gone this week? I hope you're well. I hope you're taking care of yourselves. You're remembering to eat. You're remembering to hydrate. That you're taking care of yourselves. And I hope you're going to get plenty of sleep. Holy shit. Hearts in chat. Hearts in chat, please. Thank you very much, Kyle. You didn't have to do that. On the couch and a few dollars, and I heard your voice come through. Sorry about that. Kyle, thank you very much for that. You look exhausted. Here's a big welcome back. I am exhausted. I'm very tired. I'm probably the most tired I've been in a while. Thank you very much for that donation. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Jesus Christ. I missed Joel's birthday. What the fuck? I'm sorry, Joel, that completely fucking slipped my mind. I'm usually on top of that shit. Again, thank you very much, Kyle. That's not what this is like. That's not what this stream's for. Trust me. Like after, like just it. Hearts. First off, hearts to the chat. Give me a second. I just need a second. You might as well be muted. I didn't know what to say. I still don't know what to say. I just thank you. And hello, Ghost. Um, we gotta talk, guys. Um, I know a lot of you read the update, the first update that I posted. I can't remember how many days ago. It was a few days ago. I told you all that my dad, Undad, as most of the community knows him, had a stroke, and it was bad. It was super sudden. Like, just out of nowhere. Just, he'd gone to work. He was fine. He went to the bathroom and he collapsed. He managed to scream out for his boss, and they got him to the hospital relatively quick. We all got that call, and it kind of just shook us. It wasn't something that, it's not something you prepare for. It's not something anybody's ready for, and just we're no strangers to strokes in our family, but Dad's never had a stroke. We're familiar with strokes because of my grandmother. So we didn't know what to expect. Because Grandma had a stroke many, many years ago. Has had a few since then, and well, we all know Grandma. Wasn't fine, but Grandma is fine. It's like a hard way to explain it. Anyone who's met my grandma, y'all know what I'm talking about. We didn't know what to expect, but we were panicked, and we got there, and I get there with Felgos, Bubbles, Mary, and Mizu. And we meet my mom and my brother there, and I take one look at my brother's face, and I immediately know that things are not good. The stroke was caused by an aneurysm that was basically in the middle of his brain. And it caused a massive blood clot. We got in to see him. He could not talk. He was hooked up to a ventilator and a bunch of other machines that I'm sadly far too familiar with. And he was responsive, but he couldn't talk. He could he could give us one tap for yes, one tap for no at the time. But most of the time with the like 3 fingers that were working, which was pretty much all that was working, he was just constantly like he was trying to hold everyone's hand. He was constantly like just doing this motion, like trying to rub on our hands, trying to tell us that things were going to be okay. Knowing full well, because my dad was one of the best goddamn RNs to ever exist, until he retired, that things were not okay. He wasn't. His entire left side was down, like, just couldn't move or function at all, and his right side couldn't do a whole lot. And we talked with him for a bit. Asked him if he wanted to know what happened. We got 2 taps for no. He didn't want to know what happened. But we know how this kind of stuff goes, so we kind of gave him a rundown of what happened. But he'd already had a pretty good idea of what had happened. And him being an RN, he's seen this a million times. And he drilled it into our heads over and over that this he didn't want to be hooked up to machines because he was afraid of being trapped. So when we of course asked him, it was if he wanted to be on the machines, it was of course 2 taps for no. Because we didn't know how severe things were, and we didn't know what his chances of everything were. We gave him 48 hours. Just because the doctors weren't 100% sure of how bad things were. They were like, it was bad, and it was basically a coin toss of if it was going to get any kind of better, or if it was going to nosedive. Well, every day that went, those 2 days that went by, it was a nosedive. Each time. So, a few days ago, or 2 days after it happened, we took him off the ventilator. and pretty much just, it's the old saying, if it's in God's hands now. And that's how that went. And he was breathing for a while, but his responsiveness was deteriorating more. It was deteriorating more and more every day. And then on the 16th of March, we've been staying with him the entire time. We would wind up shuffling out in shifts, but I wound up staying with him and my mom through a good portion of this. And on the 16th, we were all there at the exact same time. And Felgos and I had left to go pick up music from work. And my mom sent my brother home. And we're on our way back, and we get a call to speed up and get home as quickly as possible, or to get back to hospice as quickly as possible. And my brother Gurgit got a call as well to turn around. He waited for us guys to leave. Most likely he waited for Gurgit to leave, because Gurgit has the hardest time with this kind of stuff. And Gurgit was kind of my dad's mini-me, so he knew how he was going to handle it, so he probably waited till then. And as soon as Gurgit left, that's when everything slid downhill. And he, as Felghost, Mizu and myself walk in the door, like right as we're walking in, is when he left. So I'm sorry to report, guys, that Undad's not here anymore. I know a lot of you guys loved him because he was always in chat. He was always just being the weird, derpy dude that he always was. I know some of y'all have seen him show up actually on stream before. And he loved this community. He loved this community a lot. So I didn't want to keep y'all in the dark. I didn't want y'all to not know, because, I mean, hell, y'all ask about it for times. I'm so tired. So yeah, he passed away on the 16th, which was Saturday, I think. The days have been running together. I can't keep track of everything. I've been all over the place. My brain has been scattered and just all over the place. And it's hit everybody hard. Felgos, Bubbles, Mary, Gurgit, Mombi, Misu, they've all been just shredded by this. We haven't really known what to do because this was like just it was so incredibly sudden, just out of nowhere, no warning, no context. What the fuck, zombie? You know how to talk. Just there was no warning. We just Daft's fine. He was healthy. He was like shit. I talked to him the other day and was talking about a fucking horror movie we wanted to see and wanted to see the new Kung Fu Panda and talking about Digimon of all that. We were talking about the Digimon card game because he was because Gurgit had given him something. He was asking me a question about it. And then the next day, just gone. And I'm trying to be as strong as I can be. I'm trying to be okay for everybody. Just like everybody else is trying to do, but it's not easy. I can see it on Mom's face. Mom is just destroyed. She's trying to be so strong and she's doing so much and she's working so hard to keep everything together and to keep all of us together. But she is, you can see it. It's just, I'm so tired. I haven't slept. I try to sleep, but I haven't. I keep just... I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry this isn't a happy stream. I'm sorry that I didn't come in with good news. But I also didn't want to sugarcoat things. I didn't want to hide things. I didn't want to be like, oh, everything's fine. Just taking some time off. Because I know how much he meant to a lot of you guys. And I know how much this community meant to him. There were times where Dad and I would argue about this channel, but at the end of the day, my dad was one of the absolute biggest supporters of this channel and what I do. Yeah, he was there for everybody. He made everyone feel like family. Mad. I'm mad because there's a lot left to do. There was so much left to do, and there was so much left to say, and I didn't get the chance to. I'm sorry I'm a mess. I look like shit. I sound like shit. Like, I just... It was funny because I got myself psyched up to come on stream today. I got myself just... I made a decision I was going to do it. I've been avoiding my computer. I've been avoiding my office. I've been avoiding this room for a week straight. If I needed anything out of it, I was sending my nephews in to get shit just because I didn't want to be in here. Because coming in here meant that I was going to have to tell you guys everything. I was going to have to let you know what had happened. Sorry that he's gone. He was a great man. He did great things. And I know, I tell all of y'all to constantly take care of yourselves. That's part of my ending outro, I know. And I hear you. Yes, I know I need to take time to take care of myself, which I'm trying. I keep forgetting to eat because, like, I'll even be reminded to eat and I'll walk to go do the thing and then my phone will go off again because somebody needs some information or someone will call me or I'll hear a call in the house or I'll get a message and all of a sudden, like, that whole thought process stops. But I'm still managing to eat. I'm just probably not eating as much as I should, and I'm trying to sleep when I can. I don't have a lot of time to sleep. And I know I need to take time off, but at the same time I can't take time off because if I take time off, two things happen. One, this is my job. I can't take too much time off from my job. But for two, this is kind of how this is how I can let stuff out. This is how I can talk. This is how I can function. Like, it's hard to explain, but it's basically you come up here, you have friends. Yeah, that's it. I can express myself, and good or bad, I can let things out, or I can let things go for a little while, or I can function. It's also where I can let stuff out. It's where I feel I can let stuff out, because I can let stuff out with my family. My family is there for me. Bubbles, Fell Ghost, Mary, Mizu, especially fucking Mizu right now. They're there for me 100%. They're always there. And that has been pretty much... I'm trying so hard to keep myself together for them, but at the same time, if it wasn't for them being there, I wouldn't be able to keep myself together at all. It's like I keep saying, oh, I gotta be strong for them. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. But in all honesty, if it wasn't for them, I probably would have just spiraled into a void and stayed in bed. I've had other people that I've been keeping in contact with and updating as things happen, and to all of y'all that I've been reaching out to, I thank you for being there and for listening and for just for everyone who's checked in on me. Thank you for uh, making sure I was okay. I appreciate that. Please get some more hearts in the chat. Cassie, thank you. You didn't have to do that, but I hella appreciate that. Please get some more hearts in the chat. Holy shit. I didn't. I didn't do this today for everyone to feel bad for me. I appreciate this. I appreciate any help and any support, but I didn't do any of this today. I did this because you guys deserve to know, because Dad was a part of this community. And because y'all know Dad. It was always funny because it was always funny, like, how Undad knew, like, so many of you peeps, and how, like, he would remember every chat interaction he had with anyone in chat. Like, he would have conversations in chat with people, and he would remember it, and, like, he would talk to me about it, and, like, I wouldn't remember the conversation he'd had with someone else's chat. I would go back and I would watch it, just like, what? No, how did I miss that? Like, he would remember these things, and he would remember, like, details about anyone he talked to in chat. He'd always get excited to, like, see everybody. Like, every time someone came in, the first thing he does is he's greeting whoever came in. That's what he does. Every time someone came in, he was having to greet them, he was having to talk to them, he wanted to say hello, and ask how they were doing. And then he'd get real excited when someone was there that, like, he recognized from being there a lot, or someone, like, he watched. Like, he fucking loved to watch Caleb Panda. And he loved watching Caleb Panda play Dead by Daylight, because Dead by Daylight was one of his favorite games. So for any of you who've been around the Dead by Daylight streams, y'all know how excited he gets for that. That's his entire cat jam. Like, the next day after Dead by Daylight stream, he'll be asking me, like, a shit ton about Dead by Daylight. And if Panda's playing it and I'm not, like, he'd be like just lurking in Panda streams, and just always just rant and ramble about it. And, like, he would always ask me, like, he's like, how's Panda doing? How's Aderan doing? How's Finn doing? How's Joel doing? How's Kami doing? He would just randomly, like, he would just, throughout the day, he would just ask me how people are doing. He wanted to know. Ortel, thank you very much. Holy shit. Hell, can we get some more hearts in the chat, please? Like, yeah, Finn, you're the one who got my dad asking me about Final Fantasy out of nowhere, which was actually, like, it was a bizarre trip to me, because, like, I played Final Fantasy for years, and Final Fantasy was, like, one of the few games that my dad didn't care about. My dad, like when I was a kid, like, my dad got into any game we played. He wanted to play every game we played. He had favorites, but, like, he liked to play Sonic the Hedgehog and Mega Man and Pokemon and all this, that, and the other. And I got into RPGs with, like, Final Fantasy. And Final Fantasy was, like, the one that's like, that's not my cat jam. And he actually started watching you because he was literally subscribed to like 3 people over on Twitch. No, 4 people on Twitch. Because he was subscribed to Aderan on Twitch as well as YouTube, even though, or he was a follower on Twitch, but YouTube lingo. But he always watched Aderan on YouTube because that's where Aderan does his streaming. He was subscribed to Finn, or he was a follower of Finn. He was a follower of Panda, and he was a follower of Alanna, which is really funny because like I have a Twitch account and he didn't follow my Twitch account. But no, like he would work and he would ask me if I was going to stream. Like the first time I had was like he asked me if I was going to stream. I think it was like I think he asked for Final Fantasy VII, and I stopped. It was like, what? Why? You don't even like Final Fantasy. And holy shit. I couldn't read that fast enough. What did you... Cause that didn't come through YouTube. Where, that's bright. It's too bright. It's too bright. It's too bright. What does that say? Undad may no longer be with us in person, but he will always be a member of the zombie community and a wanderer of the fog forever. Yes, he will. Thank you, Aunt. Thank you very much. How's it going, Brett? I hope you're well, dude. I'm sorry, my brain's kind of toast. I'm not trying to hold it in, but I'm trying to keep my enough composure so I can still talk. Because if I completely let go on stream, then it's just going to be just however long I'm here just crying. And I haven't been holding things in. I've got a good support network. I'm exhausted. I just remember what I was saying. I was talking about him showing up to Peep streams and watching Peep stream. So yeah, he asked me if I was going to play Final Fantasy VII, and I was like, Dad, you don't even like Final Fantasy. He's like, well, Finn plays Final Fantasy. I was like, Really? It was just like, Fed plays Final Fantasy. She makes it look fun. You should play Final Fantasy as well. I just kind of laughed. He would watch Panda play. He gets so excited. Like if I wasn't live and Panda was playing, Double Daylight, and Panda was playing Killer, because Dad's a horror fanatic. He loved to watch people play Killer. Because the way he put it is like, I like to watch people play Killer, because Killer's hard. So I like to watch people play Killer. And he'd watch Panda play. He was always there watching whenever I played. But he'd watch Panda play, and like he'd watch Panda play Huntress, and that was like that he would get so excited. Like for him, that was like, my dad didn't watch sports, but that was like watching sports for my dad. Was watching Panda play fucking Huntress, and like he would get so excited because like did you see that? She would snipe someone with a freaking hatchet out of nowhere. My dad's got jokes, because like he would watch us play like a day that we would all like just play together, and would like do like a custom game where where you're actually playing against one of your friends who's a killer instead of playing against a random killer. And anytime Panda was playing, if she was playing Huntress or if she was playing Michael, because Michael Myers is his favorite horror movie character of all time. He would. If I'm playing Survivor and she's playing as Killer, he's rooting for Panda the entire goddamn way. He made sure I knew that the next day. It's like, man, Panda got your ass good last night, didn't she? He would make sure we do. It was really funny watching him or talking to him when it came to Aderan, because the only game that Aderan played that Dad got really into was Splatoon, and occasionally Zelda. Those were the games that those were the only games he kind of got into. Like Splatoon because it was so fast. I mean, he couldn't play it. He liked to watch people play it. But he would watch Aderan all the time just because he just liked to listen to Aderan. He's like. He literally he would go just listen to Aderan talk for however long he was on, because he'd usually watch Aderan on I think Mondays. Usually when I'm off, he'd watch Aderan. If I was playing a game he wasn't super hyped for, he would put me on the background, and then he'd go watch to play Dead by Daylight. He loved to watch Alanna draw, and he thought Alanna was fucking hilarious. Like he laughed every time he watched Alanna. Every time. How's it going, Mary? How are you? Have a good night, Ortel. I hope you're well. I'm sorry. I don't even know what I'm sorry for. I'm so used to saying that. I know you're yelling at me to stop saying I'm sorry. Just I hope you have a good night. To everybody here, I am going to say that tonight before you go to bed, make sure that you hug someone you love really close tonight. If you live alone, you call somebody. You call your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your best friend. Make sure you call them and tell them that you love them. Make sure they know. because you never know how long you've got. My dad made so many friends in this community. He was always so excited to see everybody. There were some peeps he knew here better than I did, which shook me because I thought I knew everybody pretty good. And then, like, he'll pop in and he's like, "Yo, have you checked on them? They had this today." And I'm like, "What?" No, but I think I need to go check on them now. It was really it's also funny because my dad was a registered nurse for like 30 years. Did a long time. And he was very proud of it, as he should be, because he was, as I said, he was probably the best damn nurse to walk the planet. And he made sure a lot of people knew this, so a lot of people would like come to him and ask questions. My dad's first response was always, "I'm not a doctor. Go to a doctor if you have actual questions. I'll tell you what I think it is," and that's what he did. He was like, "Here's what I think it is. Now go to a doctor because they're the ones that can do anything about it." And it's like, and the biggest thing he would do for a lot of people, myself and my family, as well as other people in the community, he was like, "Here's the things that it could be, but here's the things you need to ask your doctor." Like, because, like, people have trouble asking doctors questions, so he would make sure they knew questions to ask. Things that people don't think about, like, not could it be this disease or could it be this disease? No, he would sit there. He would tell them to give all their symptoms, and then if they got responses, what they should ask so they could get more information. Because you always need information when it comes to this kind of stuff. He was also a very proud martial artist. He was so good, he was scary. Yeah, it was awesome to watch him spar and practice and train. But one of the biggest things was my dad was good at being a dad. I know that's dumb. I know that's a dumb thing to say, that your dad's good at being a dad. You'd hope a dad's good at being a dad. Or most people will say their dad was good at being a dad, but they weren't. But my dad was good at being a dad on a huge level. Because like he was good with his kids. Which would be myself, Mary, and Gerget. We are my dad's biological children. But my dad was notorious for adopting people. My dad adopted my brother Felghost and adopted my sister Bubbles. He made sure that he made sure that they knew that no matter what, they had a home. And he loved them just as much as the kids he helped create. And he was notorious for doing that to a lot of my friends too. Hell, he did it to Mizu. My dad was everybody's dad. But he also applied that to his job. Not that he tried to be a dad to anybody. My dad would, being an RN, you wind up, he worked in the ICU and the ICU, in ICU and a bunch of other places. um, in the hospital. And you get kids in the hospital. Kids get sick too. Kids get sick. Kids get hurt, so on and so forth. And my dad would take stuff that he would learn from us kids, and he would apply that when helping kids in the hospital. There's something I always remember hearing as a kid that tripped me out, was hearing from my friends that their dads didn't do things like my dad did. Because if we got into something, my dad got into it. My dad is the cause to many of the loves I have, many of the obsessions I have, like Power Rangers, Transformers, pretty much everything but Lego, which is the obsession caused by my mom. He would, if we got into something, he would support it, or he would show us something and we'd get into it with him. Like my dad freaking loved Digimon. My dad loved Transformers. He freaking, like, he really loved Power Rangers. He loved all these things. And whenever we would get into them, he would get into it with us. When I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh, he would sit down, he would learn how to play the card game with us. And he would learn to play, learn all the rules, he learned what the cards did, he learned what the big cards did, and where to find them, how to do this. He never played in tournaments, but he would help us practice for him. And he took that. There was a kid that he was watching, and I want to say they were in the ICU. I'm not 100% certain. There was a kid he was looking after, and he'd been there for a few days. He was scared, and he wasn't doing well in there because he was scared, because being in a hospital is scary. And he would do everything he could to try to make this kid smile or laugh. And one day he walks into the room, and the kid's talking to his mom and wanting her to bring something. She's telling him that they probably wouldn't allow him to have it. And the kid wanted his Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And my dad hears this, and he's like, "Oh, you like Yu-Gi-Oh?" And that kid lights up like a Christmas tree. Like, it shifted his entire world around in an instant. And that kid looks at him with like these just like big sparkling eyes and just goes, "You know what Yu-Gi-Oh is?" And Dad goes, "Of course." And he starts talking about his deck, the one that one I'd built for him. He starts talking about his deck and all these cards that he has and this, that, and the other. He starts talking to this kid. And my dad's talking out his ass a little bit because he doesn't have a lot of cards. A lot of the cards are my cards. But he's telling this kid about the cards that I have. And this kid's, but he knows the game, he knows the rules, so he's talking to this kid on this kid's level. And that was what my dad did a lot, is he talked to you on your level without talking down to you. And he did this with everybody. It didn't matter if you were a small child or if you were an adult. He would talk to you on your level, but he would talk to you like an equal. Whether you were a child, an adult, whether you had disabilities or anything else, it didn't matter. And he came back home, and he's like, he looked at me, he's like, "Okay, so I need you to do me a favor." I was like, "What?" "And I need you to make me like a card binder." And I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "What am I going to card binder for?" He explains everything, he tells me the whole story. I make him a card binder, and I give him a few things, and then I tell him what packs to go buy. I was like, go buy these packs, these are what are new, this is what everyone's playing with. And he goes, and he, every time he walks in a room with that kid, he talks to Yu-Gi-Oh with that kid throughout the rest of the day, every time, because he had to check on that kid a lot that day, and he starts talking Yu-Gi-Oh, and he gives him a few cards and this, that, and the other, and he made that kid's time go from being terrifying to okay. And it would amaze me the amount of work he could do with that. And the parents there were like flabbergasted. It's like, why do you know all this? It's like, because my kids are into this. Whatever my kids are into, I'm into. I want to know what my kids like. I want to know what my kids are into. I want to be there with my kids, doing what my kids do. And he did it. He didn't do it in this like fringy like, I'm going to get into this because it's what the cool kids are doing. I want to be the cool dad. No, he did it because he wanted to be a part of our worlds. Found out how to best relay information using something you had a passion for to make it easier to understand. That's exactly what he would do. He was also a very, very, very firm believer in giving information to anybody that like he was a very firm believer in education. Joel mentioned holy shit. So sorry for your loss. Us being here, we feel like we are a part of your family. So you're not alone. We're here for you to take all the time you need to heal. Indy, thank you very much. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna be honest, that's the whole reason why I'm here tonight. Is because you guys are family. You guys are family to me. And Undad fucking adored you guys. Yeah. He did. He fucking thought the world of you guys. As he would say, he was a zombie through and through. And he loved the zombies. He was so proud of this community. And he was so proud of me, which I never really understood. But I appreciate it. Thank you, Indy. I really want to thank you guys. I especially thank a few of you guys who've been checking on me just randomly out of nowhere. I was going crazy with my phone ringing off the hook all the time and beeping for messaging and whatnot. But at the same time, I appreciated it. I had my mods and peeps like Dude and Kyle and Captain Spencer and Aderan checking on me all the time. And Panda was not only checking on me, but checking on my family constantly. She would message everybody, like, yo, hey, are y'all okay? What can I do? Just being there. It no lie kind of trips me out. But I appreciate it. Never got over it for decades. Because of what it did to me as a kid. I'm good now. I've lost a ton of my past, which sucks. I'm sorry, man. That's rough. It's hella rough. God damn. I can't make my brain work. I'm trying to make my brain work, and I'm failing horrifically at it right now. So you guys have to forgive me here while I try to resituate my brain. I'm sorry he's gone, guys. I know there's not anything I could have done about it, but I'm still sorry he's gone. This loss is not only my loss. It's not just my family's loss. It's y'all's loss too. So I'm also sorry for y'all's loss. But that's why we're here tonight. It's because I wanted you guys to know that he cared about you guys. But giving time to heal is what makes you stronger. I love you, and those who are affected, please take your time to heal. How are you doing, Owen? How are you doing, Nettie? I know it's not my fault for the ghost. I feel bad. It's honestly an understatement, but I feel bad. I was showing all of y'all all these new buttons and things I had added. And I have been beating myself up and kicking myself over and over because I didn't stream last Saturday. Or Saturday before last. The Saturday before all this happened, I didn't stream. I was supposed to play Splatoon. And I got home late. And I didn't think about it. I was like, I needed to take the day off. I got home too late. I was working on more stuff. I was making more stuff. But I messaged Undad and, well, I called him and told him I was working on all this cool stuff. I had all these cool effects because my dad loved all the weird effects we had on here. I was like, Dad, I made so many new things, and you got to show up on Saturday. We'll show them all off on Saturday. We're going to reveal all of them on Saturday. We'll let everybody see them. And he got real excited because I was going to show him all this shit. And then I wasn't live. And he went down the next day. I know it's a silly thing to be upset about. They're like, but like just... It's what I find myself doing a lot right now. I sit there and I walk around. It's like, oh, I gotta message Dad, or I gotta send him this thing, or I have a medical question because someone in the house is sick. I was like, I need, like, what can I do to help them? Like all these things that I'm used to going around and doing. And my mom's having a similar issue. She had to go to Walmart today. She never goes to Walmart alone. She always goes with Dad, but she was in Walmart today with my brother Gurgit, and she was constantly spinning around to tell Dad something, to show Dad something, or tell Dad something. She went to every spot that her dad go to at Walmart, because like me, they're creatures of habit. They hit each spot in that they always want to look at. Like they hit books, arts, crafts. Dad would hit go look at the knives in the Walmart and stuff like that. So Dad loved to collect knives, and so she'd go to each of these things and you want to show him something or say something to him, and he's not there. And it's so. It's so fucking surreal. I'm sorry, my brain's just everywhere. The funeral for my dad is on Wednesday. I've been prepping for that. Been editing pictures. Editing pictures because they're going to do a slideshow, because that's what they do at funerals for anyone who may not have gone to one before. Let's see. Been doing a lot of editing, so this was my dad. How's it going, TK? It was nice. Um, let's see. I've got so many pictures I've been working on. This is my dad with my sister and myself on Halloween when I was like 6. Oh, this is him way back. I've got a more recent picture of him. I'll pull up in a minute. Here's him with my sister and me. This is right after, or right around the time my sister came home. And my dad was a baby hog, like hardcore. Like my dad loved babies. He loved babies to death. He loved my sister so much. My dad was also a very proud RN. This was him with one of his co-workers. They managed to catch them both by surprise. My dad was like, you put a camera on my dad, and he was always making the silliest of faces. Yeah, the Red Ranger was me when I was very little. I love that costume so much that I wore that. I wore it till that costume basically just couldn't be worn anymore. Like that costume got torn to pieces. Oh yeah, the two newest wee ones in the family. His granddaughters, he freaking adored. And he also loved his nephews, man. He would spoil any of them anytime he got the chance to, any which way that he could. He would shower them with love and affection any which way that he could. My dad was also a very proud martial artist. He trained for many, many years. And he also taught all of us kids how to defend ourselves. But he also taught it to us so we'd have discipline. This is him, one of his best friends. He was notorious for being able to catch almost anybody by surprise. He was very strong. And eventually he became an instructor. He was so proud of it. And we were proud of him for it, but at the same time, being as strong and as powerful as he is, he could also be one of the most caring people on the planet. Anytime he met anybody, he'd always greet you with this big, goofy smile he always had on his face. He'd always try to make you laugh. I miss him very much. Let me see if I've got a picture. Where's the more recent picture? I need a message file, guys. With him, he was always a caring dude. He will be missed. He was a phenomenal man. Here's one that's more recent. This is him with Felgos and Bubbles and Gurgit. He loved all of his kids very, very much. I think this is one of the last ones we got with all of us all together. It's going to be huge. This is him with the whole family. He's so damn proud of everybody. And then, where is it? And this is one of the first ones with him and my mom. Yeah. He was a weird dude. But he's probably the best dad anyone could have asked for. Man, this is actually him at Thanksgiving, him and Mom. I was always having to toss him out of the kitchen. Because I'm always cooking with Mom in the kitchen, and he'll always get into stuff. He'll always, my dad wasn't much of a cook, but he loved to eat. And he loved to get into food anytime he could. That was actually how we used to bond a lot of times, always over food. It was always silly. Because he's always telling jokes. As well as because he was an RN, we would always be swapping just like different medical horror stories at the dinner table. Something that would make most people sick was commonplace for us. It's like we would talk about like a medical documentary we'd seen about like a different surgery we'd seen or something like that, or he'd talk about someone who'd come in with like gangrene, and like we would all like discuss like the different processes of it. Yeah, I think this was last year Thanksgiving, which was your first Thanksgiving. He loved Mizu to death. He met her and basically adopted her too. Mizu thinks she can't cook, but she's an amazing cook. And she's while you're eating, yeah, while we were eating. If for us it was normal, like we didn't know it wasn't. We never thought of it as not normal until we had friends over that weren't used to that, and we grossed a couple people out. We're like, oh, oops. Yeah, he loved Mizu to death, and she cooked for him on Thanksgiving. She made croquettes and key lime pie, and that man would not stay out of either of those things. There was no pie left over at the end of the night because everyone ate it, and Dad went back for seconds, and he destroyed those croquettes. We still had some of those left over the next day. We didn't have much left. My dad never met a stranger. He would meet anybody and they became his friend. And he would help anybody with anything. Yeah. Yeah, for us it was always normal. My dad had a rule. Um, let me get some of these off here. My dad always had a rule when it came to this, because both my parents did, that if you asked a question, you answered. You did your best to educate and inform. That was always his rule. He was very big about that. Hair's getting too damn long. Because I'm catching it on my freaking pillow. That's the reason why I usually wear my hat when I'm on stream. He had a rule. Joel mentioned the story that's about to come from this. Joel mentioned this. He's heard it more than once. He had a rule that if we ever asked a question, no matter what it was, we got an answer to it. If he didn't know the answer, we would find the answer. That was always his thing. It's like, if we don't know the answer, we're going to go find it out. There were many trips we took to the library just to get an answer to something we didn't have. When the internet became a thing, man, that was like that changed his whole world. The only problem is when your thought process is, if anybody asks a question, you answer it and you educate. Is when you do this with a child that has autism, like myself, we will use that information even if we shouldn't. When my mom was pregnant with my sister, I asked where the babies come from, like every child does in that situation. And I'd asked my mom in front of my aunt. My aunt decided to tell me that my mom ate the baby and the baby would just pop out later. And this terrified me. Because I was a very literal child. And it drove my dad insane. So my dad decided that that's not how shit was going to work. And decided he was going to teach me exactly where babies came from. Don't eat the baby. Not ate the baby. Yeah, he decided he was going to tell me where babies came from. And him and mom sat me down and explained in full scientific terms where babies came from. Like using scientific vernacular, using medical vernacular the entire way through. And after I had this answer, I was like, oh, okay. Everything's good. All green. And then I went to kindergarten. And a child in my class asked my teacher, where do babies come from? Now, my teacher did what my teacher was supposed to do in this situation. My teacher... Well, actually, no. What my teacher should have done is my teacher should have said, you should ask your parents. But my teacher decided to tell the student the stork is where babies come from. And I heard this. And you did make 2 key lime pies that day. I was 5. The teacher told the stork this, and I heard this, and this was a travesty to 5-year-old me's brain. This was not okay. This was not good. This was a bad answer. This is the wrong answer. So, I walked up to my kindergarten teacher and took her to the reading corner, sat her down, and patted her hand, and then proceeded to give her the full scientific explanation for where babies come from. Traumatized this poor teacher. Immediately got sent to the principal's office. Immediately had my parents called. They come up to the school, and she's in there with us. I'm confused because I don't know what I've done wrong. And she starts, as soon as my parents walk in, just like starts arguing with my parents, say like, "You won't believe what he told me in class," and da 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 da. And you were just trying to educate. That was it. My thought process as a child was that she was my teacher. My dad told me that my teachers were going to teach me and my fellow students stuff. They were going to teach us. They were there to teach us, for me to learn more stuff. And I loved to learn as a kid. And my dad was all about learning. So I love to learn. I still love to learn. But like that was it. And like this was something I had the answer to that was wrong. She just taught a student something that was wrong. And that wasn't okay. Like my teacher was supposed to be infallible. And this was a moment where my teacher was not infallible. And I was like, oh no. And we had to fix that. Like, so it's like dealing with a child with autism is we have to fix it. It's like we know the thing, we have to say the thing. We have to fix the thing. We want to fix the thing. And that's what I did. I fixed it. I gave her the proper information so if someone else asked again, she could tell them the right thing next time. So she comes in and is like, you wouldn't believe what your son said, and he's like, well, what did my son say? And she's like, in a really hushed and quiet tone, she's like, he talked about where babies come from. He talked about sex. Now, for what most people don't know is that, like, when I was a child, I lived in a very, very small town, and it was a very religious town. The school, though be it wasn't a private school, it wasn't a church school, did everyone there was very like church oriented. So this was something you don't talk about. Oops. I didn't learn that way later. I had no way of understanding that at the time. I had no way of understanding that's not something you talk about. Like, I understood, like, after it was told to me how that worked, I understood how that worked. Like, I did. It was explained to me in a way that I could understand. My dad made sure anything he taught you, you would understand. And if you didn't, he would try different ways until you did understand. So I understood what it meant, but I didn't understand the ramifications of what I was doing at the time. I didn't know that that was a faux pas. I did not know that was something that was not talked about in public. So yeah. So she says this, and he's like, he looks at me. He's like, instead of being like, "You don't do that," or getting me in trouble, my dad looks at me. He's like, "Why did you regurgitate this information?" I was like, because she told so-and-so that the stork brings babies. And, my dad looked at the teacher. No! Some hearts in the chat for Anth. Hey, Mizu, you have membership again. Thank you very much, Anth. I hella appreciate that. Holy shit. I really fucking appreciate that, dude. Thank you. Mizu has emojis. And now Mizu's dangerous. Mizu has emojis. Oh, God. But thank you very much, Anth. Can we get some hearts to the chat, please? I hella appreciate that. Jesus Christ. Something extra just because I'm ahead. I'll go do stuff. Be safe, everyone in Zombie. Remember, we're here for you. Get through this. Thank you very much, Indy. I really appreciate that. And I will remember. I will remember that we're in this together. And that we will get through this. Thank you. And thank you, Anth. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, Indy. Thank you, Anth. Thank you, Kami. Thank you, Kyle. My brain just shut off. Thank you, Cassie. Thank you, Aura. Thank all you guys for all the support today. I really appreciate it. And thank you, everybody who's been here today. And don't worry, Black Magic, I'll finish the story. But just... seriously, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. More than you will ever know, I appreciate it. Still need to get you my Galaxy of Heroes thing, Hawkeye. I was meaning to do that, and it keeps slipping my mind. I need to remember to do that, because I was playing that in the hospital religiously to take my mind off the shit. Playing that Monster Hunter. To finish up the story, she tells my dad this, and my dad busts out laughing. And my mom's trying not to laugh. My mom's trying her hardest not to laugh. And my dad's just cackling. And she looks at him and says, "This is very serious. I don't see what's so funny." And my dad is like flipping a switch. He goes from just laughing to just stone-faced. Looks her dead square in the eyes like, "Well, you told that child a lie. You told that child something you should have told to go ask his parents. You are chastising my child because my child came at you with proper information. So, I don't see a problem here. Was he wrong? No. Did he show anything explicit?" And he gives me a very stern look. It's like, "Oh." And, she's like, "Well, it's just inappropriate." It's like, what's inappropriate is not teaching your children when they ask a question. And he explains to the teacher all this. My teacher just, after that, my teacher just tuned out and stopped listening. I'm no longer in trouble. But the principal tells me I can't talk about that anymore at school. My dad later tells me, it's like I can't talk, my dad tells me I can't tell that to children. I cannot talk about that to children. They're not, that's their parents' job to do. It's like, okay. But that's how my dad was. If you asked a question, he could explain anything in a way that regardless of who you were, you could understand it. And he would never talk down to you when he did it. But he would always make sure it was at a level you could understand without talking down to you. And he did that with all of us. No matter what age we were, no matter what it was we asked a question. That was the first thing he did. Was like, if he knew it, he prattled all the information off. If he didn't know it, he grabbed a book. If he didn't have a book, Undad called a teacher a child without calling a teacher a child. That's exactly what he did. That's exactly what he did. But yeah, anytime anyone had a question, he made sure it got answered. He made sure we found information for it. We went to the library. Like, I asked Dad, how does a microwave work? My dad looked at me, he's like, I don't know. Give me a minute. And he ran off, grabbed his keys, told Mom, was like, we're going to the library. He yells out really loud, we're going to the library. So excited. He looks at me, he's like, boy, get on your coat. We're going to the library. I was like, what? We're going to figure out how microwaves work. And to the salon. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And that's what he did. He packed me and my sister in the car. He left my brother with my mom because he was still small. And he drug us all to the library, and he went and we went through and we found a few books, and he read the book. He read the book to find he read the book, and he found one that had even diagrams for how microwaves, like the radiation type, works. And then they actually had a diagram for how it worked in a microwave to explain it. So he went through, he read all of it aloud in terms at the time I did not understand. And then he's like, okay, so did you understand any of that? He's like, I understand that it sends waves. And that's all I grasped. He's like, okay, so then he broke it down for me in terms that I could understand. He actually used Power Rangers as a reference for how to explain it to me. And he knew how actual microwaves worked because he worked in a hospital. But he didn't know how the machine worked, like the microwave machine. Communicate. Yeah, he explained. Well, he explained communicators to explain how radio waves worked to me when I was a child, because that's how walkie-talkies worked, and he knew how walkie-talkies worked right off the rip. So he used Power Ranger communicators to explain how walkie-talkies worked to me. He used microwave. The way he explained microwaves was explaining it via bad guy attacks in Power Rangers. And then after he explained that, he explained the mechanical portion with the actual machine as a microwave. Because I'd asked this question while cooking a hot dog. Because I wanted to know why sometimes hot dogs explode and why they don't. Because I understood the concept of heating up an object in water. I understood the concept of heating up an object with fire. Because I was like 8 or 9 at the time when I asked this question. So I understood these concepts. But what I didn't understand was how a microwave box microwaved food. I didn't know that. So he explained microwaves with attacks from Power Rangers. And the mechanical portion, I understood. I was very mechanically inclined. So he showed me a diagram of a actual microwave and said, these are the parts that make it work. And that I immediately understood, because I was a kid that got in trouble at home with my parents all the time because I would take shit apart. I'd put it back together, and 75% of the time it worked when I put it back together. But I took apart everything And so the mechanical portion I understood as soon as I saw pictures, and Dad would point to each part and what it did. So, even though I knew how the machine part of it worked, my brain still wanted to like imagine a little like bad guy in the microwave blasted by hot dogs. But yeah, that's how he would do things. Like it's like, don't know how it works. Well, we're going to the library. We're figuring that out today. Or we're getting on the internet. We're figuring that out today. And I was with anybody, and he always wanted to learn. He wanted to learn everything. He was very much a believer in the principle that there is no knowledge that is not power. He learned about how most of my streaming stuff worked. Like he would ask questions. He understood most of it. Sometimes he'd get a little lost in translation with it, but he understood most of it. He would ask all the time. It's like, okay, so how do you make this thing pop up on the screen? How do you make this thing pop up on the screen? How do you do that? Like the first time he ever saw this. Wait, let's put it in the right section. Let's get to actually work. Why is that not working now? I was going to use Robbie Rotten, but apparently the Robbie Rotten video is not working. The first time he saw me do one of these things, he like, I might as well shown him a diamond. He thought that was so damn cool. Mizu, that's so cute. She also sent me a picture of Undad. Mizu's actually working on something. Do you want me to go ahead and show that? Do you want me to go ahead and show that to the peeps here? Because I can, because it's really cool, and I think everyone would love to see that right now. We're all nerds here, so one of the easiest ways I can explain my dad is if you've ever seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, my dad was very much like Uncle Iroh. My dad was a lot like Uncle Iroh. He had the ability and the power and the knowledge to be one of the most dangerous people, but instead he was mostly a guy just giving wisdom to peeps that needed it. That's like the easiest way to explain. My dad was pretty much Uncle Iroh. He was very much Uncle Iroh. He acted a lot like him. The screen's big and I'm little. I need to swap that back. I swapped it over because that's where all my animations are right now, because I was in the process of moving everything over before this happened, and I never got to finish moving everything to every scene, so everything's only on this scene right now, and I need to move everything. I need to basically duplicate the stuff and put it onto the face cam section. This is something that that Mizu is making for Undad. My dad loved dragons. Loved dragons. Had an obsession with dragons. Had dragons all over his office. And would drive my mom crazy because we wind up having dragons all over the house. Um, he would always kind of poke fun at me because I was born in '88, so I was born in the year of the dragon. So I was the dragon my dad made. That's what my dad said. It's like you're the dragon that I made, and he would always joke about that. So Mizu is making Undad a uh, essentially making Dad an urn buddy because my dad is going to be cremated. So she's making a dragon to keep my dad company, to sit next to uh, his urn and to make sure he's never alone. Which is very, very sweet. And I know that my dad would absolutely cherish it. How are you today, Siren? I hope you're well. I'm having a day today. Having a week. But how are you, my friend? I hope you're well. I hope life has been treating you well and treating you fairly as of late. And how are you, Zach? But yeah, I think that if Dad were to see this, he would completely lose his shit over it. He would think this was like the best thing ever. My dad wasn't very artistic. But he loved the arts. He loved art as a whole. Um, so with all of us kids were more on the artistic side of things, whether we were building stuff or creating things or drawing or content creation. He would heavily like push for each of us to chase these things and to hone these skills and to use them. He loved to see the weird shit that we would make. He fell in love with Mizu's crochet work as well as their needlepoint work. He just thought that was just some of the neatest shit he'd ever seen. And my sisters also do a lot of crocheting. They would also do they do a lot of I guess you'd call it sublimation. They make shirts and bags and stuff like that with different forms of art and stuff all over them. And he loved getting that stuff as gifts for Christmas from them. Like he would just be beside himself because they would make him such cool things. They even put my logo on a bag for Christmas this year. It was really neat. Just finished off my end and saw the ping. Take your time. Just take all the time you need. You can't be seen anymore. In thoughts and memories, you will always just be alive. You're right. I have my ups and downs, Pixel Man. But I'm holding up as good as I can be in the situation. But how have you been, Pixel? I hope you're well. Serious gaming question. Was your dad obsessed with Skyrim? No. As my dad got older, it got harder for him to play video games. My dad had really, really bad arthritis. So he would usually watch us kids play games. So he loved to watch us play games. But he would still try to play things like Halo. He loved Halo. But games like Dead by Daylight, which was one of his favorite games to watch, he couldn't play because the controls just wouldn't mesh with his hands. But he wasn't a Skyrim person. He wasn't much of one for RPGs as a whole until, he started watching Finn play the Final Fantasy series, and Finn made Final Fantasy entertaining to him. And then he liked to watch people play stuff like Dark Souls and Elden Ring, because of their darker aesthetic. Skyrim he didn't really get into, but he loved to watch Fallout. Which is essentially like me. I don't do a lot of like the medieval style RPGs. I'm not a medieval person. Both my dad and myself liked dystopian future, post-apocalyptic stuff like that. He loved to watch Fallout because Fallout was like watching a horror game. With RPG mechanics. He especially loved Fallout 3. Fallout 3 was probably his favorite to watch. He liked 4 alright, but he liked 3 for the amount of options you get to talk. He liked New Vegas a lot as well. He freaking loved Death Claws. So yeah, my dad's favorite game of all time. He had 2 favorite games. One retro title, and no, he had 2 favorite retro titles, and he had one more modern. It's not modern anymore. It'd be classified as retro because it's a PS2 game. But his favorite games to play were Donkey Kong Jr., Galaga, and a game called Dark Watch on the PS2, which is a vampire cowboy game. There's been a vampire cowboy game that came out recently, but in my opinion, it's not anywhere near as good as Dark Watch. He loved everything about Dark Watch. It was like one of his favorite games. He'd play that with me and my brother Gurgit all the damn time. And he just loved that game. He also loved anything to do with Resident Evil. Resident Evil was like one of his favorite franchises to watch. He loved Resident Evil. He loved Silent Hill. He, of course, as I've already said, he loved Dead by Daylight. He also really loved games like Sonic. He loved Sonic the Hedgehog. I would always sit down and play Sonic the Hedgehog with him and my mom. And my mom would drive my dad crazy because my mom was so much better at Sonic than my dad was. My mom was the first person in our town to beat Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And 1. drove my dad up a wall because she always beat it before he did. I remember playing Sonic the Hedgehog with my dad. I was always Tails while he played Sonic. I was always Tails while either of them played. He just he loved video games. Just in general, though. When I was a kid, him and my mom had a ColecoVision. And then he also had a Commodore 64 and a Commodore 128 computer. He upgraded from one to the other. And he bought me a Sega Genesis so I would get off of his computer, because my dad would get all sorts of games for his computer because he wanted to play the games on his computer. I actually remember we went to a tech trade show when I was very little. And as we're walking through, we find someone who has Mario on the Commodore computer. Now, this is not actually Mario. It's bootleg Mario. But what the funny thing about this Mario, I found this out years and years later. The Mario that I was playing on the Commodore was actually a bootleg of Super Giana Sisters, which most people classify Super Giana Sisters as a knockoff of Super Mario Brothers. So it was Super Mario Brothers in name, but it was Super Giana Sisters because it had the same powers and same enemies as Super Giana Sisters did. And I loved that game because I didn't have a Nintendo. And I would always go to school and tell my friends that I was playing this Mario game. No one ever knew what it was. No one ever played it, and like everyone thought I was either crazy or lying until like finally I brought a friend over years later and showed it to him. Recursively bootlegged. It was a bootleg of a bootleg. Oh. Every year for my birthday on that Commodore, he had a paint program on that Commodore, which is, it makes that paint program on the Commodore makes the freaking it makes Microsoft Paint look like Adobe Suite. That's how bad that paint program is. But like he had like all these different codes that would like put characters and other things on it, basically like in 8-bit style format. And he every year for my birthday he would custom make my birthday card from him, and it'd print off on this printer that like had like lines of paper, because this was back before, this was like paper that was like, it was old school printer paper, so it had like the dot holes on it so the gears in it could push it up through the feed. And it was always like, I remember that being like the coolest thing ever, was like watching that printer print shit, because I could see how it would actually move shit around. But he made every birthday special because he would make my birthday cards. And of course he'd get me a gift as well. Like my parents would get me tons of gifts for my birthday and stuff like this. Well, they would get within their means what they could when I was little. And they would he would make sure I had that. Go to Dot Matrix. That's it. I couldn't remember the freaking name for it. Dot Matrix. It was a dot matrix printer. I used to think these were the coolest things ever. Like, I thought I was the cool kid because my dad could make anything I wanted. I learned so much from my dad. I did a lot with my dad. We watched a lot of stuff. My passion and love for anime, I get from both my parents. Um, my love for action anime, I get from my dad. My love for mech anime, I actually get from my mom. Um, my dad loved Dragon Ball Z, and he loved Cowboy Bebop. He just watched all the way through Demon Slayer recently, and he loved that. He was actually supposed to watch Jujutsu Kaisen with me, and we never got a chance to do that, sadly. I remember the first time I showed him freaking Gurren Lagann and the acid trip that show can be, and I remember that just like completely tripping him out. But yeah. I'm kind of at a loss for what else to say. I'm holding up alright, Phil Ghost. I'm tired. But I've been tired. And I will be tired for a while. But I'm holding up as good as I can. Well, I'm assuming everybody got back with all their fingers and toes intact. Because no one banged on the garage door, so. Are y'all holding up alright? I heard the march of minions. I heard them running. He loved all you guys very much. He didn't want people to be sad. He wouldn't want people to be sad over his passing. He would want people to celebrate. I'm going to be honest with everybody. I don't know how quickly streams are going to go back to normal. They won't be gone for super long. You can't keep me away from my streams. It helps me. But when I do start coming back in the full swing of things like we normally do, my first week or so, it depends what I have in my library, is going to be tributes to my dad. They're going to be games that he used to love, games he enjoyed. I have a Lego I'm going to build in his honor as well. Turok, specifically Turok 2, Seeds of Evil on the N64. Love Turok. We would spend hours playing Turok with Dad. We're not alright right now, but eventually we will be. We're tough. We'll get through it. We always do. I don't know how. To be completely honest, I don't know how. But we will. One day at a time. Indeed. County and fava beans. Damn, dude. God, that's rough. I'm sorry that's how he went out. Because there's no rougher feeling than that. I would have been completely honest. God damn. My dad would have loved your name. He freaking loved Silence of the Lambs. Well, I agree. That's why I did it. Dad was part of this community. That's the weird thing I'm finding out, apparently, is that my family, all my family members have been on stream with me in some form or fashion. I've streamed with Gurgit. My sister Mary has popped in to show things they've crocheted. Undad's popped in not only in chat, it was a moderator for my streams, but he's also popped in on a few streams as well. He'd pop in, he'd bring me food. He's like, "You haven't eaten enough today." And he'd sit and he'd talk to everybody for a minute. Mombi's built Legos with me on stream and has been in chat. Velgos and Bubbles have been involved in cooking streams and the chair burning stream and several others, as well as several Splatoon streams. How's it going, Bubbles? How are you holding up? Doom or Command and Conquer against each other using system-linked PS1s. We'd hook them up on either end of the dining room table with a couple CRT TVs. That sounds like a blast. NFL goes popping in, braving literally the freezing cold for the coldest Splatoon stream ever to bring me hot chocolate. And being stubborn, came home earlier than was recommended, got really sick overnight. I was at work and me and my little bro were still kids. Oh, this sucks. It does indeed. I've got to admit, that's the thing that, like, that's been, like, probably one of the hardest parts about this with my family. Is how quick this happened. My dad was healthy. Well, for the most part. Everything was okay. Everything seemed fine. And then all of a sudden, it's like with several family members, we've had an inclination something was coming, time to prepare. He was still pretty young. Honestly, still waiting to wake up from a nightmare, honestly. Yeah, same. Exactly the same. I really miss him. There's a lot of shit I still wanted to tell him. There's a lot of shit I still wanted to show him. There's still so much more I had to learn from him. Before you woke up after a dream about my dad. Making peri-peri chicken in the oven and sipping on a glass of sherry. Yours was the first stream I saw on my YouTube list. Really? Huh. That's a weird coincidence. But we welcome you here. I usually offer you a cup of coffee, but I don't have coffee today. I didn't have the thought process to make coffee. I made G Fuel instead because it's what I've been sipping on to keep me awake. So I can get everything done. And I appreciate you letting Void Raptor know. Soul Reaper, I appreciate you letting Void Raptor know. He liked Undad. If this is your first time here, I apologize for the circumstances of which we're meeting, but it is a pleasure to meet you. We could possibly do that, Felgos. Memorial section of the Discord where people can post their favorite memories or interactions with Undad. I could probably do that. Though I would have too many to count to put in there myself. I wish he was here right now. It's going to be a million and one things you're going to want to say to your dad. Oddly profound things, and every once in a while you'll think of stupid things like, oh, I found that thing he lost that time. I could see that. I could easily see that. I've already experienced it. There was a funny cat meme. My dad loved cats. And there was a cat meme and a cat video that had shown up. And I immediately wanted to show Dad. As well as there was a fail compilation. My dad loved to watch fail compilations. And I'd found one. And without thinking, I automatically sent it to him. Usually post earlier in the stream since I was lurking. How are you doing, Time Jester? It's been a while. I hope you're well. He's here in spirit watching over you. I really hope he's watching over Mom. Hell, I know he's watching over Mom. You have support no matter what happens. Have a good night, Determination. Make sure you take care of yourself. And that's what I'll say to everybody here. Is make sure that you're taking care of yourselves. Dad would be remiss if y'all weren't. Hold on. What am I holding on for? I'm not ending. I'm not ending yet. I'll probably be ending in a minute. Because I need to go eat something. Because I haven't eaten since 7 a.m. So I'll probably be ending a little bit to go get food. Oh yeah. God, I don't know if you have autism, but I have autism, so like the rocking thing isn't that always happens. It helps me calm down, it helps me think. And I will do my best to take care of myself. Like, I'm trying to. How are you, Vasco? I will do I will do my best to take care of myself. And I've got other people helping me with that. I've got Mizu, who has been basically glued to me throughout everything, making sure everything is okay. Making sure that I eat. Making sure that I have someone for emotional support, and always seems to know the right thing to say at the right time. As well as I have Felgos and Bubbles and Mary living here with me, or well, I'm living here with them. We live together. We help each other. Actually, an autism group on YouTube. Really? Oh. Everyone's making sure everyone's eating. Everyone's making sure everyone's eating. Everyone's making sure that we remember that it's okay to have emotions. I have to tell Bubbles constantly to stop saying sorry. Bubbles is working her damn ass off. Which I can't say much. I've been saying I'm sorry all fucking stream. I've got water. I've got a water bottle. I have nothing else. I've stayed hydrated this whole time. I have water. I make sure that I stay hydrated. I fill this thing up, and I usually kill at least 2 of this a day. Sorry for your loss. You haven't been here long enough to know your dad, but the times you shared and the stories you told, I think your dad was a great guy, and I hope you feel better soon and get rest. I want to try my best, but thank you. Check this. Are we back? They just told me that it disconnected. Oh, that's incredibly bright. One sec. Have something to add. Thank you, everyone. I don't know if I can read all these out loud. I don't know if I... I don't know if I have the strength to read them all out loud, but I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys. He had 3 favorites. And they were Donkey Kong Jr., and Galaga on the arcade, and Dark Watch on the PS2. Thank you, everyone. Um, no, uh, I haven't seen, Matt McMuscle's video on that one. I've actually got it, I've got it saved in my watch later, and I haven't had a chance to go and watch it yet. It's, it's on my list of things to watch soon, because I love his videos. But I hadn't seen that one yet. Honestly, I don't know what my dad's least favorite video game series would be. Honestly, don't know. There weren't many games he didn't like. Usually, if he didn't like playing one, he'd usually like watching somebody play it. Guys, seriously, thank you. Seriously, thank you. Yeah. Yes, Aurelia. A hydration check's probably very much warranted. I understand that. I will hydrate. Appreciate. My dad. My dad smoked in his 20s. But he stopped long before I was born. Yeah, big hydrate. I love this water bottle. No, my dad was not a smoker. He used to back like before I was born, but no, he hasn't had a cigarette in like 40 years, I think, 'cause he stopped smoking when he joined the military. Hey, you got a new type of food you can make? See, I mentioned it earlier. Taco lasagna. That sounds delicious. What is taco lasagna? That was very goofy. Try taco lasagna for dinner, and it's actually pretty good. I'm gonna look up. If you got a recipe for it, send it to me. Sleep between completely. The main reason will be the cost. Has cost about £15 around here. Jesus. I have, for the most part, quit smoking cigarettes. Though, be it when he wound up in the hospital on Sunday, I grabbed a pack then. Just the stress, it just punched me. But for the most part, I vape, and I'm vaping less than I was. And mainly for the same reason, the cost is just ridiculous. Vaping is still cheaper than cigarettes, but it's still expensive. It's a horrible habit that I should have never started. But I did. But seriously, guys, thank you. I don't know what to say. Just thank you. I'm sorry, guys. I know. Stop saying sorry. I just. You're fine, guy, James. You're fine. It's all right, guy. I appreciate everything you said. Yeah, I honestly just appreciate you being here. Y'all being here helps more than you know. Messages and DMs. It's getting late for me, so I have to take my leave. Much love to you and your family. Thank you very much, Nitty, and thank you for popping in. I'm probably about to end because I need to eat. I definitely need to eat. I have not eaten enough today. I ate at 7 o'clock this morning, and I haven't eaten since. That's one thing that's gotten a lot more difficult is remembering to eat, because even when I get told to eat by somebody, I'll go start making something to eat, and then I'll forget because I'll get distracted on the way there, either by a message or a phone call or somebody in need, and I keep forgetting. Which is bad. I yell at people to remind them to eat, and here I am forgetting, but, like, my brain's just everywhere. But I'll eat something and go from there. I would try to get some sleep. The issue is staying asleep. Spend multiple times a day asking if you're gonna come out there. Don't yell at me. I did. I'll fix it. I'll stop apologizing. Don't yell at me. It's my dad. Put it. In tortillas, taco meat, shredded cheese, taco sauce, and jalapenos. That sounds delicious. You all the time, especially if I'm gaming or reading X-Men stuff. Oh, my dad loved X-Men. Hey, now that right there. That's a smart idea. That's a smart idea. I even have one like right there. I should use it for that. That's. I know it starts Wednesday. I'm very excited for that. I'm about to bring the pocky stick out of your keyboard. She will too. She has a little foam bat. She goes. Because Joel convinced her to buy a foam bat while we were out. It was when she came to celebrate my birthday before she moved down here with us. He convinced her to buy a foam bat. And he didn't even have to convince her. He showed her a foam bat. She bought that shit immediately. common autistic trait, normally to do with hyper focus on a special issue. Yep. That tracks hardcore. My current hyper focus is a card game called Lorcana. And yeah, we could find a Wiffle Bash just about a foam bat. It's a card game called Lorcana, which is a Disney-based card game, and I'm obsessed with it. And I'll make the mistake of walking past like one of my deck boxes and like on the way to go make food, because that's how I've been coping with stuff is doing that. Start getting ready for bed. You and yours are my thoughts. Thank you, Fuzzy. I hope you have a good night. We're about to end here too, because I got to eat food and I've got to start prepping things for tomorrow, because we've got to meet with the priest tomorrow. And I've also got to take Visa to work. I keep saying I'm going to start winding down. I should actually start winding down. I appreciate that, Fuzzy. I will definitely let you know. Thank you. My brain did not. I didn't think about that. Shit. What was I doing? I was winding down. Gotta wind down. As I stated earlier, I'm not 100% sure when we're going to come back to our normal stream schedule. I'm going to try to not be gone for too long. I know I won't be on tomorrow, or I don't think I'll be on tomorrow. I absolutely know I will not be on Wednesday, because I'm going to be an absolute mess on Wednesday. So I don't know about this week. I'm going to aim to at least try to start piecing things back to normal by the start of next week, because we've been away for so long, and this is my job. I need to do job things. So we'll be back soon. When we come back, I'm going to play some of my dad's favorite games, and I've got a Lego kit I'm going to build in memorial to him. But for the next week or two that we come back, we will be playing games in honor of my dad. I can show you some of his favorite stuff, and we'll regale tales of the odd stuff that the odd adventures of Undad, basically. And we'll get back to normal, or at least some semblance of whatever normal is here. But I really appreciate you guys. I thought all of y'all deserved to know, because he was a big part of this community, and he loved you guys very much. So, we're going to make this through. We're going to make it through this. Oh, I won't rush it. But getting back to streaming is doing something that I love. So I won't be gone long. Just forgot you don't get paid compassionate leave for work over there. There are several, like most places do bereavement pay, which is essentially compassionate leave. But you just don't get it doing stuff for YouTube. YouTube is literally my job. Literally, this is what I do for a living. Is I stream on YouTube. So when you run your own business, you do your own thing. There's no bereavement for that. Playing Command and Conquer, my dad would build nod laser towers all the way down the Tiberium fields. He was. I've actually got a nephew right now who's actually really into Command and Conquer right now. Try to get something. Try to eat something, or else I'm gonna call you at 4 a.m. This is not a joke. I'm serious. I believe you. Love to play Command and Conquer. Command and Conquer is so good. I love Command and Conquer. I'm not good at it, but I love it. Try to have as good a night as possible. Now go eat, please. Yeah, I'm gonna go eat. As you all know, this has been Zombies Going On, Coffee Fueled, Gingerbread Undead. And tonight, we remembered Undad, the dad to us all. Someone who is very proud of all of you, and was always in awe at the things you guys would create and the things that you would do. Remember to take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, pleasant nightmares. Tonight, please go hug someone close to you. Give them a call if they're not in the same house. Let them know that they are loved. Let them know you're thinking about them. Have a good night, everyone. Pleasant nightmares to you all.